Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I'm the Geek. You're watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome back to another bit of Modern Life is Goodness Madness. This is series 3, episode 2, The Veneer of Civilization. The only thing I can think of is it something to do with like turkey teeth or something like that. Yeah, the phenomena of turkey teeth. Let's find out, shall we?
Welcome to Modern Life is Goodish. My name is Dave Gorman, and as you can see, I've got a big screen, a remote control, and a laptop full of things that I want to share with you. Now, it seems to me that there is a peculiar mood in our country right now. More than ever before, Great Britain feels like a divided nation. And it's at times like this, when so much divides us as a people, that I think we need to seek out those things that unite us and use them to make the bonds between us stronger. For example, ladies and gentlemen, and I think this is true, whether you are black or white, rich or poor, young or old, I'm sure we can all agree that when you're at a bar, the person trying to get served by doing that is a dick. It's such a weird, unnatural thing to do. You're not even holding the money between your thumb and forefinger, which is how you hold most things, is between those two fingers. The cigarette fingers, in a way that suggests I can't even be bothered to hold my own money properly. I don't really care. Why would you fold a note?
I have a story about this.
You must have done that on purpose. Notes aren't normally folded like that, are they? Most wallets look something like that, don't they? So most notes are folded like that. Unless you've got a wallet that looks like that, there is no excuse for holding a note that looks like that, is there? As far as I can see, there are only two situations in which it is acceptable to fold a note like that. One is in a magic trick, and the other is in a stripper's thong. Let's be honest, neither of those is anything to be proud of.
No. Oh, I have a massive pet peeve for my times working on the bars about the way that people hold their money and try to get themselves served. When I was working at Butlins, it was really more of a thing that happened at the adult weekends more so than the family breaks. But the main venue was 2,500 capacity, and we would regularly get very close to that. So we'd have like 3 main bars plus like little bottle bars. Bottle bars normally where I would be for the most part because it was just brilliant. Just, you want a bottle? Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. It was brilliant. It was amazing. But when you're on the main bars, obviously the people trying to clamber their way through and everything. I had a system. So you've got like, I don't know, there was like 6, 7, 8 tills on the bar. So you work a little section. So I'd work my little section from left to right, from the till to my left to the till that I'm using. And I kind of observe people as they're kind of coming up, and I take mental note, and I generally go left to right. So I'll go, you madam, then you sir, then you madam, then you madam, then you sir, and but if I'm working my way along and I see someone cutting the line, I will skip over them and carry on, and I'll eventually get through to them. You've got a good mental system, but when the people come in and start waving their money, that's where you go wrong. And we were given permission on the adult weekends. If someone's like waving their money, you pinch it out of their hands, you put it on the bar behind you, and then when it comes to them serving, you serve them the drinks. Oh yeah, that's 20 quid or whatever. It's like, well, you've already taken my money from you. It's like, sorry, did I? It's like, yeah, you took it out of my hand. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were literally giving it to me. And then you turn to them and you say, right, on this occasion, I'm using this money for your order. But if you do that again, I'm keeping the money. We were given permission to do that. It was amazing. And it stopped people from doing the waving of the money and trying to butt their way in. So there you go. There's your top tip of the day.
What is this gesture really trying to achieve? Do you really think the bar staff are looking at the throng of people trying to get served and thinking, oh, they all look thirsty, but which of them can afford a drink? Which one of them's got actual currency? Such an arrogant thing, such an arrogant gesture. It really winds me up. In fact, I have started a bit of a campaign on this topic. We have got a logo. There it is.
Nice.
We've got a slogan. Don't be a note-fold cock.
Yes. Oh, don't be a cock.
If you want to join the campaign, there is a website. say no to notefoldcockery. .com. Feel free to come and join. It is early days, but I think it's going quite well. In fact, in my local, they've actually got a sign on the bar. Because it's on the bar, and it sort of speaks from the pub to the customer, they have changed the slogan ever so slightly. So their sign says, "These people get served last."
Yes!
Don't be a notefold cop.
Yes,
If you don't believe me, there it is, on the bar, ladies and gentlemen. If I zoom in, you can see the detail, see the wording. I mean, the truth is, I imagine they'll take it down when they find it. But it's there. It's there at the moment. And that's the important thing. Now, we've been talking about the way we behave at a bar, about manners. Essentially, we've been talking about queuing. And queuing, I think, is seen as a fundamentally British quality.
Yes.
It's something that we like to think we're very good at.
Yes.
And I'd like to think that we
For
were.
the most part.
Because queuing represents something important in life. Queuing represents democracy and civility. Queuing says, yes, I am younger, I am stronger than you. You are old and you are frail, but you were here before me. And so I will not exercise my physical advantage. I will allow you to go first. That is a wonderful thing.
Yes.
So maybe it's no surprise that no less a source than Debrett's describes queuing as an aspect of British behaviour, saying, where other nationalities mass frenziedly, the British, good old us, turn up at a railway station or a supermarket or a post office and you will see an orderly queue.
Apart from on the tubes. That's the one exception I would kind of see to that. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to literally get off a tube as people are trying to push their way onto a tube. It's very difficult.
And maybe that's true at a railway station or a supermarket or a post office. But it's not true at a bar, is it?
No.
At a bar, it is every man for himself. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And the reason for that is we've given responsibility for who chooses who's next to the one person who is not equipped to decide who is next. The barman. If you're a barman, you're looking out at a crowd of people like that, and you're supposed to remember in what order they arrived. But you can't possibly know that because every time you serve someone, the lineup changes in small, subtle ways.
Yeah.
Basically, we are expecting bar people to play the tea tray, tea towel memory game with human faces while serving drinks and counting money and serving people. That is not humanly possible. No wonder mistakes get made. I'll show you what I mean. Right? Let's say that this is a queue of people at a bar.
Okay.
This is the front line at a bar, and there's a space that is.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Now let's imagine that
disagreeing.
we are the person sliding into that space. Right? Now, if that's you, the only thing you know at that point is that you are ninth. Okay. Now, this is just an example, obviously. I wouldn't want you to think that I would actually drink in the kind of places where that many people wore hats. It's just an example. And for whatever reason, the barman hasn't realised that you're the most recent arrival. He makes eye contact with you and he says, "What would you like?" Now, there is no reason on earth why you should not just place your order. That is how the system works. He is the man in charge, and you could do that. You could shaft everyone else in that queue. What I would recommend you do instead, and it's worse in its way, is the barlow. The barlow. You don't make your order. You don't place your order. What you do is you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, that guy was here before me." And you indicate the man next to you. Now, that man, he thinks you are a saint.
Yeah.
And so does the barman, because very few people give up their place in a queue. But you're not a saint, are you? You could have been first. No. You were meant to be ninth. But now, you're second. Because the barman thinks you're brilliant. What you've done is, instead of shafting all of the others, you've shafted most of the others and earned yourself a halo that you have absolutely no right to. The reason this is called a barlow, it's obvious, really, isn't it? It's because in the microcosm of a bar queue, this is the moral equivalent of writing a song for charity while not paying your taxes. That's the barlow. It's obvious. It's obvious when you think about it, isn't it? It's obvious.
I think for me, it's clear that Dave has never worked on a bar, because trust me, bar staff, they deserve a lot more credit than they're given.
But even then, in what sense exactly is a bar queue orderly? Let's look at a bar queue from another perspective. Let's look from above, okay? They were looking down from the ceiling. That's the bar there, okay? And that there is the barman.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's a load of people who are waiting for drinks. Now, that's meant to be a queue. I would say, in no meaningful sense, is anyone who isn't on the front row queuing. Those people are in a queue. of sorts. Those people are not in a queue. Well, there's no
Standing.
first come, first served rule going on there. I mean, if that person there is able to make that manoeuvre, there is absolutely no complaint that those people can make. That is deemed fair under bar rules. That's not right, is it? That's not right. Now, let's imagine that this person here is the person being served, okay? And that means that this very valuable bit of real estate is about to open.
Real estate!
And these two people are the people with an equal opportunity of occupying that bar space, okay? They are the ones with the chance
First,
to
put the hand on the bar.
Okay? Now, let's examine just these people. Let's just zoom in and focus our minds on the details of the matter at this point. And let's imagine that we are the person in green. And we want to be the person who gets that space at the bar. How do you do that?
You put your hand on the bar.
Doesn't it? On whether this person is going to turn clockwise or anti-clockwise.
Right.
If they turn that way, maybe their friends are over in this corner of the bar, there is very little that we can do to stop that person leaving like so and that person entering the bar like so. You need to prevent that from happening as best you can.
Put the arm in the way.
There are ways of doing it. First of all, you've got to get in close, try and be a barrier. If you're brave, breathe in his ear. Let him know you're close. But crucially, and this is the most important system, hand on the bar.
There we go.
On the bar. That is like 50p on a pool table. That is yours now. That cannot be removed. These are the rules. The deal is still not sealed. If this person wants to turn that way, you think you're in. But if their friends are in this other corner, maybe they're going to turn that way and exit like so. In which case, it becomes another equal opportunity between the two of you, you and your opponent. So, how do you stop that from happening? It's very simple. When he's turned 3/4 like so, this is the crucial detail. Swap hands. Now, whatever route the person with the drinks takes, there is very little anyone can do to stop you sliding your shoulder in like so. There's nothing.
There we go.
There's nothing that can be done about it. Nothing anyone can do. It's a good technique. It's a very, very good technique. I know it's not very helpful, technique. But oddly, this technique is also known as the Barlow. It's because, unlike in most situations, where if someone turns their back on you, you consider that rude, in this situation, you're actually there thinking, I want you back for good. It's called the Barlow. And I think most of us have Barlowed at some point in our lives. I know I have.
I have.
Be honest with me. Put your hand up if you have Barlowed.
Many times.
Everyone admitting that they have no respect for the first come, first served system. No, I know that you do.
I still do, you know, let people go, you were first before me. And I'll do it to more people than just one. I won't put myself second. There'll be more people, but I need to still get myself to the front. I need to be seen. Don't know why I choked my throat there.
Because before the show tonight, we set up a camera in the bar.
Oh!
And we have seen you barlowing.
Oh.
Now, not everyone is very good at it. There's two people to focus on here.
Right, who?
The two people to focus on are this gentleman here. And this gentleman here.
Right.
Who I can immediately identify as being in the front row. Where is your opponent, sir? Where is the other person? You're over there. Okay, so we've got one over there and one on the front row. Okay. What's your name, sir?
Gio.
Gio, you are not good at barlowing.
Practice.
You are not good, okay? There's a person between these two people. We're just going to watch the moment where they leave and watch what happens.
Oh.
Useless barlowing. Some of the worst barlowing I have seen in a long time from Joe. Other people are good at barlowing. The person we're looking at in this video is a man who's currently at the back with a sort of top knot and the grey T-shirt. Where are you? Oh, right, okay, in the middle of the third row. In the middle of the third. What's your name, sir? Christian. Now, you're quite good at barlowing here. There's quite a few people. Hand on the bar.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yes.
Hand on the bar. This woman hasn't got a chance.
And then,
Off you go. You're in! You're in. Congratulations on good barlowing. Congratulations to you. You are as rude as anyone and good at it. For that reason, after the show, I always have to go and get makeup and whatever I could do with a drink. Could I give you some money? And will you get me a drink afterwards? I've got my wallet.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very good.
Would you pass that back?
Very good.
Christian.
Very good.
Thanks. Get yourself one, get me one, and keep the change. While we all think about how awful we are to other people, we'll have a little bit of a break. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Oh, genius. Absolute bloody genius. Oh, that was incredible. Oh. That's what I love about Dave. He's just so good at his observations.
Welcome back to Modern Life is Goodish. My name is Dave Gorman, and this evening we've been talking about queuing, about etiquette. And it seems to me that you are a relatively polite bunch. I think you would probably queue quite well. I know there's obviously a queue to get in here. One thing that annoys me when I'm queuing is, you know, you're waiting behind someone and then their friend turns up and joins them and they weren't in the queue. And part of you think, well, OK, they went to the toilet and that's kind of understandable. And then another friend turns up. And then, what do you think the limit is? What do you think is an acceptable number of people to be joining that?
Ooh, good question. So, like, sort of holding place for a number of people. See, I think it depends on the circumstance. I think it depends on what kind of thing you're getting into. If it's like just like a general ticketed event and you've got your tickets, like you're going to be seat A1, A2, A3, for example, then really, I don't suppose there's that too many of a limit. Maybe maximum 6 people. So like one person holding it for 5 other people, in theory. Yeah, because you've all got your tickets at the end of the day. If it's like a first come, first serve basis, 2. Literally one person holding place for one other person. That's it for me. That's social etiquette.
2 is where you think it is. It's interesting.
You've been doing that again?
Before the show, then.
Yeah.
That man in the t-shirt who's just been inserted into the queue is a man called Ben, and he works on the show.
Oh.
And someone escorted him and said, oh, sorry, this guy's got to come in here because he works on the show. And who was behind him in that queue? Who was immediately behind him in that queue?
The guy with the book, it looks like.
People down there. OK. When that happened, what's your name, by the way, sir?
Lee.
Lee. When that first happened, when a man was just put in front of you, how did you feel at that moment in time?
Not particularly bothered.
Not particularly bothered. OK. And then his really good friend came along and joined him. How was that for you, Lee?
I noticed.
You know.
Didn't notice.
You know what, Lee? I noticed you noticed.
Did you?
But we sent in a third friend. Is that the point at which you...
No, I think it was 5.
5 including Ben. And that is the point that you, Lee, had had enough. That's the point at which you thought, I'm standing up for myself. I'm going to have a word. There you go, Lee. Moving to the front. That's also the point at which we sent in another friend.
Oh.
This one. On crutches.
Oh.
And what I want to know from you, Lee, is did the arrival of someone on crutches dissuade you from having had a word? Did you think, oh, all right then? Or did you think, no, I want them all out? You're pausing, Lee, but you've got to bear in mind, I already know the answer.
Yeah. He still had moan, I think. He still had a moan.
Because it's at that point that we had them all kicked out. Of course we did. Justice prevailed. We wouldn't want to take seats away from you good people. Look at the body language there.
Oh, God. See, the hard thing with that is, you know, realistically, morally, you know, there was the scene in the In-Betweeners movie, right, where Will goes, what was it? Just because she's disabled doesn't mean they get preferential treats and whatnot. I agree to a certain point. Again, I think if it is a first come, first served basis, just because you need a chair or whatever it is you need in order to get to be able to stay in the queue, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should just automatically have the ability to go to there. I think there should be a way of going, I'm holding this place for someone who is disabled, who physically cannot stand in the queue, but you still have to be literally wherever you go in the queue is that moment where you get entered into said queue. It's not saying, oh, you're disabled. Oh, that means you go straight to the front of the line. Or you're disabled. Oh, no, you're not allowed in whatsoever. No, there's still a queuing system. It's still social etiquette. If you physically cannot stand in the queue, have someone there on your behalf to be in the queue or do something, speak to the organizer, say, can someone stand in there? Because I'm physically cannot stand in the queue for however long I need to do, just so that you can have your place in there and still have the opportunity to get into, but just so that you don't take away the rights of other people who have an equal right to be in said queue.
Have you calmed down yet?
I got him.
I'm feeling a little bit of seething anger still coming this way. It seems to me that you are good people with good queuing manners. You were prepared to step forward at 4 or 5 people in to an abuse of a queue. I like that. But do you agree with Debrett's, who say that a supermarket is a place for orderly queuing?
Yes!
I'm not convinced myself. I'll explain why. I'll give you an example. Let's say that this is the supermarket. We're looking down from above again. That's the till. That there is the conveyor belt. That there is the actual till itself, OK? So the queue will be travelling in that direction like so. Now, obviously, there'll be more than one till. There might be 3 or 4 in this particular example, so there might be 3 or 4 queues travelling like so. By the way, let me be very clear here. When I say supermarket, I am using the phrase, in what I think is the commonly accepted use of the term. I find it is a much abused term, supermarket, isn't it? If you look it up in a dictionary, it's very clear. A supermarket is a large shop. Now, obviously, large is a subjective term, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this isn't a supermarket.
No, that's not a supermarket.
But what I mean is, I'm talking about real supermarkets, the kind you wheel trolleys around, the big, proper supermarkets. So in our example, let's make it easy. Let's say there are just 3 tills open. And that means there are just 3 cashiers working that day. And that means there are 3 queues. Now, for example, there might be, say, 4 people on till number 1, 5 people queuing at till number 2, and 4 people on till number 3. But that represents us. We have got a choice to make. We have got to choose which of these 3 queues we join. And you might be looking at one with 4 people and one with 5 people and thinking it's obvious, but maybe one of the 5 is only buying a pint of milk, and maybe one of the 4 is buying 230 tins of tomato. So, it influences your choice. But before you make that choice, let's say this till magically opens up.
No, you go straight there.
At this point, do we give any thought to these people who've been here before us?
No, you go straight to the open till.
Queuing already. If this was first come, first served, they would have every right to take the place at the front of that till. But no, you just think, I've won the till lottery. If they'd have turned up as late as me, they'd have been as lucky as me, but they didn't. And even if there is a little old lady down here, you're thinking, I can have her in a foot race. And that's how it comes to pass, isn't it? Every time. That's what happens. Because in a supermarket, the orderly queuing only happens from that point onwards. Up until then, it is a brutal every man for himself world. We're not really the orderly, civilised nation at all, are we? We're not the nation we think we are. I have another problem with supermarket queues. I have a problem with the 10 items or less till. And it is not the problem that some of you might be thinking.
Although you take more than 10 items.
That it should say 10 items or fewer. No. In Waitrose, maybe, but not in the others. I don't even have a problem with the loose definition of 10 items. Everyone knows that what it really means is 10 items or less, approximately.
Yeah.
Nobody who works here is paid enough to pay for extra items. Just don't take the piss, okay?
Yeah.
I was recently taken to task by someone who insisted that I had no right to use the 10 items or less till.
Okay.
These are the items I had bought. I unpacked them when I got home. I had a bottle of wine, a bottle of milk, some olive oil, some butter, some marmalade, some bananas,
6,
and 3
7,
oranges.
8, 9.
The person behind me is saying, "You shouldn't be in this queue. You've got more than 10 items. Excuse me, he's got more than 10 items. Can this person be moved from this queue?" It was like you, Lee, on steroids. They were angry. And let me be very clear here. This is not more than 10 items. What I've got there is 1,
2, 3,
4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7 items, isn't it? And
I don't know. The bananas, yes, that is one item because it's a bunch. 3 oranges, 3 individual oranges. If they're being charged, but technically you should say, well, it's 3.
let me be very clear. The oranges were in 1 plastic bag.
Oh, okay.
All the cashier's got to do is put that bag on the scales, weigh the oranges, tell
I'll
me
give
how much
him
they
that.
cost, and then put them back. But even if you're a fusspot, even if you think, no, 3 oranges in 1 bag, they're 3 separate items, that still only takes my total to 9, doesn't it? No, the problem the person behind me had was with my bananas. My bananas that Mother Nature has conjoined. That Mother Nature has decided are 1 item. That is a hand of 5 bananas. And even if you think those are 5 separate items, that only takes my total to 10, 11, 12, 13 items, doesn't it? Well within the limit that we've all accepted. That's the rules. Do you know what makes it worse? The person who was complaining, they were buying a bag of bloody rice. Hundreds of bloody items. Hundreds.
I was about to say, like then by that logic, if you take a loaf of bread, that's probably about 30 items, technically.
I'm going to calm down a little bit. I'll see you after the break.
Oh, I love this episode. It's a great episode.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave Gorman, and this is Modern Life is Goodish, where we have been talking about human behaviour and manners in relation to queuing. Do you know where I think the most civilised queues on Earth are to be found?
Japan?
And I think this will surprise some of you. The barber shop. Barber shops, not only the best queuing, also the best close harmonies. Wonderful places. And by the way, I do mean a barber's, I do not mean a hairdresser's. There is a very big difference.
Yes.
I can see it in my own household when it comes to the hair-cutting regimes. Mrs. Gorman, when she wants to have her haircut, it needs an appointment. It needs half a day of her life. She might have to raise a small mortgage to make this happen. Could some of you at least look like that's making sense? Because otherwise, that's a really weird way of discovering that Mrs. G is having an affair. That is making sense, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah. It's just you all understand what it. You know, it's just you have to pack your hairdressing negligee and off you go. We're on the same page. We're on the same page, right? We're on. Good. Okay. Fine. And incidentally, I'm kind of a new man. I am sort of switched on. I do recognise when Mrs. Gorman has had her haircut. I'm not an idiot. It's easy, really. She's sobbing and wearing a hat. There are clues. This is the price list. I just plucked at random from the internet for a hairdresser's. And this is what a price list looks like at a barber's. Very different things. My favourite part of that, of course, haircuts. I don't know what a haircut is. I mean, I know what a massage is, but I've no idea what a haircut is. The only thing I know is it's not a haircut. But it's cheap. I'll give it a go. Look at the bewildering array of different prices available here at this hair salon. It all depends on who is cutting your hair. Prices go up with the seniority of the stylist. You can have a graduate stylist at the cheapest end of things. You can move up to a junior stylist, then a stylist, then a senior stylist, then an executive stylist. And if you really want to push the boat out, you can have an art director. An art director! I wouldn't have my hair cut by an art director. They've probably just got home from the movie set where they were sorting out props. How do I know they know how to cut hair? This is a gents salon. This is one that does do men's hairstyling. Look at the language that's being used here. You can have a creative stylist or an artistic stylist. When is someone artistic but not creative? When I was at school, the kids who were artistic but not creative were just good at colouring in and stuff. Let's just look at one particular service they offer, the wash cut, and finish. And incidentally, I only know what 2 of those things are. I genuinely don't know what finish is.
No.
How do you cut someone's hair and not finish? That's a never-ending haircut. That makes no sense at all to me.
Is that where they put like the wax and stuff in at the end? Is that what it is? Because that's the only thing I can think of.
I know what a wash is. I can do that for myself.
Yeah.
I know what a cut is. I can't do that to myself. That's why I go to a barber's. I go to someone who can do the one thing I can't do. Don't understand. They're genuine. And incidentally, if you're at home thinking, oh, I'll tell him, don't. I'm enjoying my ignorance. It's fine. I like not knowing what a finish is. Makes no... I mean, if it was a massage, I'd know what a finish was. But... If you want to have the wash, cut, and whatever a finish is, if you want to get it for either creative stylist, that will cost you £26.50. But if you want to go to director stylist, £27.
50p
Can
more.
you perceive a 50p difference in hair-cutting ability? This is like going to a cafe and saying, I'll have 2 egg and chips, please. And someone saying, yes, certainly, sir, that'll be £4.50. Or £5 if you'd like an old woman to cook it. There's no sense whatsoever. This is why I go to a barber's. A proper barber's that does haircuts for £7. That's the kind of place I go to, genuinely. This is the kind of place I like. And this is where perfect queuing occurs. Perfect queuing. It is amazing. Let me set the scene for you, because a lot of people won't have been into a proper barbershop. They'd have a counter like that, maybe a barber's chair like that. There might be a mirror in front of that chair. Obviously, might be 2 or 3 different stations at a regular barber's. Now, you'd be a sofa. It'd be the kind of sofa that has been rejected by your local minicab office. But it's still good for a barber's. That is absolutely OK. And then there'll be a ragtag assembly of different plastic chairs that shouldn't have ever met in life, but they've met in a barber's. There'll be a coffee table, and the coffee table will be decorated with a few lad mags and maybe a Daily Mirror, but never that day's Daily Mirror.
No, it'd be like 3 years out of date.
Always at least 3 days old, possibly 3 months old. That's the limit on the Daily Mirrors available in a barbershop. And if this is the barbershop we're talking about, maybe you're entering the shop down here. And you don't have to sit in the nearest chair and then process your way from chair to chair until you get into the magic chair where the hairdressing will actually occur. There is no physical form to the queue in a barbershop. In a barbershop, the queue happens in our heads and nowhere else, and everyone knows their place. And at some point, one of the barbers will finish cutting someone's hair, and he will turn his chair around, and he will say, who is next? And the person who is next will say, I am next, and they will take their seat. That is perfect queuing. That is perfect first come, first served civility. That is how life should be. There is one bad thing that can happen to you in the queue at a barber's. In any other queue, it would be considered a very, very good thing. The bad thing that can happen is this. You're second. You're aware that you've moved up to second. And the barber spins his chair around and says, who's next? And the person who is first goes, nah, it's all right, I'll wait.
Oh.
And now, you are first.
Yeah.
But you're first at the same time as you've just been bestowed with the knowledge that that particular barber is shit. Because there is no other reason why a man would look up and see him and think, no. Imagine if this was anything else. Imagine if you were in a hospital and it was now somebody else's turn to have their appendix out. And they went, no, I'll let you go. You wouldn't bloody touch it with a barge pole, would you? But you can't turn the barber down. No barber can be denied twice. If it happens, he is taken out and shot. You have that on your conscience. So you have to step forward and sit in the chair and have your hair cut by someone that you don't trust. And if this ever happens to you, this is known as being Barlowed. You've just been Barlowed if that happens to you. The reason for that is this is a society peer pressuring you into having a haircut that you're not comfortable with while everyone else laughs at you behind your back.
Yeah.
Queuing is important.
Did you hear that go?
Queuing is fundamental. What really illustrates how important queuing is when you witness the absence of queuing. When you see the system break down and queuing disintegrate, you realise what chaos is out there. Nothing illustrates this better than Black Friday.
Oh.
Black Friday. That magical day that for the last 2 years we have been pretending we've been observing all our lives.
Oh my God.
Black Friday is an amazing day. Look at the...
It's the worst day.
Oh, it was in the BBC News. Of course it was. It was in the Mail. Of course it was. The Guardian had it too. I got a Dyson, but I don't know if I want it. That is Black Friday summed up in a perfect phrase. There it is in the Telegraph. My favourite headline in all of the coverage for Black Friday was in a paper called the International Business Times.
Right.
We went with Black Friday Brawl. Watch 2 women fight over lingerie in Victoria's Secret store. That is a headline writing a cheque the story can't possibly cash. Women fighting over lingerie in a Victoria's Secret store. You do not want to know what I was Googling when I found this story.
I want to find that.
Actually, I'll tell you, I was buying Mrs. Gorman a new hairdressing negligee. The other one has been torn to shreds, honestly. That guy needs to control his scissors. Anyway, look at that. Watch 2 women fight over lingerie. Hey, women, hey, lingerie, hey, whoa, Victoria's Secret, hey, whoa. Look at the video.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God.
Whoa.
That's
I
mental.
love stories like this. I love it when people get so upset about things that they really don't need to trouble themselves with. I like to see what the world is saying about such things.
Right, here we go.
I've been to the bottom half of the internet, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen what the great British public has to say on this very topic.
Have you now?
Taken the best, or perhaps the worst, of what I could find.
Good.
And I've turned them
Good
into
choice.
something that I like to call a found poem that I would like to perform for you now. Black Friday is just another American import we can well do without.
I agree with that.
Like Kim Look At Me Kardashian.
I agree with that.
Or Rolf Wobbleboard Harris.
Oh.
I didn't take part in this embarrassing spectacle because I've already got a television. I've had it for years. I don't need a new one. I can't believe so many people have fallen for this gimmick. Black Friday is not a real sale. It is just an excuse for shops to sell things at cheaper prices.
Or at the same price as they were 10 days ago.
Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. We don't have Thanksgiving in the UK, so we shouldn't have Black Friday either. Unless we want to adopt Thanksgiving too.
No, thank you.
Which we don't. The veneer of civilization is so thin. If this is what people do for TVs, just think what they would do for something important. Like food.
COVID,
They
everyone?
would beat you to death over a fish finger in a... These people are no better than looters. The only difference is that this lot are paying for the things they take. But that's not all that different when you think about it. What do I mean?
What do you mean?
Think about it. I know. I was going to buy a pair of shoes that day. But I didn't want people to think I was one of that stinking rabble. So I stayed at home. Now I've decided that I don't really need the shoes anyway. So, far from stimulating the economy, Black Friday has actually cost at least one shoe shop, at least one customer. But of course, people like me won't be counted in the statistics because we weren't there. And you can't count people who aren't there. But I hope they do count me. And I hope it persuades them to end this silly so-called stunt. To be fair, it was a great scrap. I will definitely be back next year. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you after the break.
I'm just making a note about some stuff to talk about at the end. Or at least to look into anyway.
Welcome back to Modern Life is Goodish. Now, you would think that if queuing is a thing that the British people see as a defining part of their character, as a wonderful, noble thing, then surely queue jumping would be one of the greatest sins you could visit on your fellow man.
Yes.
We certainly proved earlier that you don't like it when it's happening to you. So why, in a society that frowns on queue jumping, are there so many situations in which the world tells you it's okay to queue jump for a price? Priority boarding is a wonderful example.
Oh,
Priority boarding is an act of madness. I've done it. I fall for it. I'm going to fall for it again. I don't understand why, but I do. This is what your journey looks like on a flight. You get onto a plane, then you fly over mountains and oceans to a new and exotic land. And then you get off the plane. And if you pay for priority boarding, you get to do that bit first. If you could pay to do that bit first, that might make some sense, wouldn't it? This is the uncomfortable bit. This is the bit with the lack of leg room. The airport is a place of almost infinite leg room. By paying to do that bit first, you are giving up the comfort of an airport and volunteering to spend more time in the uncomfortable zone, aren't you? And yet we fall for it. We all do. I know I do.
I don't.
2 stories. One occasion, I was travelling on a flight. I was given priority boarding by the people who had put me on the flight, OK? So I get to the airport and there are 2 queues. One says regular boarding and one says priority boarding. So I joined the queue for priority boarding. And then they called our gate. And everyone who was sitting around stood up and joined the same queue as me. All of us. And nobody was in the other queue. And so somebody came forward from the airline and said, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is the normal queue, this is just priority boarding. And every single person went, yep. I've paid for priority boarding. 200 people had given an airline £2 for priority boarding. 200 people had basically given them 400 quid to stand exactly where we were.
Oh, my God.
And at no point did the airline say, we understand that you paid for an advantage that we're not giving you. We will give you all your money back. They just literally laughed at us as we went onto the plane.
Oh, my God.
On another occasion, myself and Mrs. Gorman were going away on holiday. We had paid for priority boarding. I know it doesn't make sense, but we had done so. We got to the airport. There's a queue. There's about 20 or 30 people in priority boarding, and the rest of people are not in priority boarding, and so we get to go through first. But we do not go through, and then over a wibbly-wobbly corridor and into an aeroplane. No. We get to go through, and then down some steps, and then down some other steps, and then outside, and onto a bus. And then they let the non-priority boarding through. They came and joined us on the bus. But they couldn't all get on our bus, so another bus was brought, and the rest of them got on that. And then that bus left before our bus. And they got on the plane first, and then our bus turned up, and the people who got off the bus first were the people who got on it last.
Oh.
So we were the last people. We basically paid £2 to be first onto a 3-minute bus ride through an airport. This burns. Now, of course, there are situations where queue jumping does make sense. That doesn't mean it should happen, but it does confer some kind of advantage on you. If you have a mobile phone and your contract is with the company EE and you want to phone customer services, you might well hear a recorded message from them saying that if you give them 50p, they will bump you up nearer the front of the queue.
Oh.
For 50p. 50. You could upgrade your hairdresser to a director stylist. Just imagine someone trying to do that to a real queue of people in an actual... Imagine if that was outside tonight and somebody had come out with a loud hailer and said, if you've got 50p, I'll get you in first. I don't think that would have gone down very well, would it? No, Lee, I don't think it would. But in the privacy of your own home, it might be quite tempting. No one else needs to see you doing it. No one else knows you're being a bastard, do they? If we all just accepted that queues existed for the greater good, then we'd be fine. The truth is, a queue robs you of a little bit of your individuality. Just temporarily, you become one of life's drones. And that's okay in the context of a queue. I like the fact that there are occasionally little symbols in life to tell you how to behave in a queue. Sometimes at a cash point, you might notice something like that, a little box around there and a pair of feet as well. I like that. I like the box anyway. The box is good. The box is saying, back off, this is my space, I'm doing something private here, don't try and rob me, don't crowd me out. I'm fine with the box. I'm not so convinced by the feet. I've never walked into one of those boxes and thought, well, if those feet weren't there, I wouldn't know what to do. It's not as if the box was wider and the feet were over there. You'd be doing that, would you? You wouldn't. You wouldn't, would you? Would you?
Well,
I wanted to know if people would.
oh my God.
So
No.
I found a cash point
Yeah.
without a box,
Yeah.
and I gave it a box.
Nice.
And then I added a pair of really wide feet. And to help guide people into those feet, I put a pair of not so wide feet there, and then a pair of normally spaced feet there. Now, there's a few things you need to know about what I'm going to show you. First thing, that is not a working cash point.
Oh.
The other thing you need to know is every time I show you one of these videos, you're going to see two people at the front of the queue. They are my friend Nick and me. Okay, I'll just show you how it works. So this is the first one. That's my friend Nick approaching the cash point. In he goes. And obviously, because he's my friend, he's in on this. Bang on the wide feet, like so. Next person you're going to see is me. Here I go, approaching it. And I'm in on those feet. And we did it this way because we thought that way people have got more chance of following the pattern that has been set. Now, the reason I went when I did is because I saw that man there. My job was to kind of make judgment calls, to survey the environment and think who here is looking like they're going to the cash point, and then try and get in before them to create a three-person queue. He looked like the body language was right. He looked like he was reaching for his wallet. He looked like he was sort of scanning the environment, looking for one himself. It's tricky to get right, though. I thought he was doing that. Now, as you can see, the toilets are right next to us. We were there all day doing this. About 80% of the time, what actually happened is people just went in there like
God
that.
damn it.
And myself and Nick, two friends, would be stood in front of a non-working cash point for about 4 minutes before we'd realised there was nobody behind us and there was nothing to do. It was really, really odd experience. This one, I was right. The man is joining the back of the cash point queue. Here he goes. Let's have a look at his actions. In he goes. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? Oh, he hasn't already committed at that point, has he? And Nick is about to leave. Let's see what happens when Nick leaves and I step forward. Off Nick goes. I'm on target. This man's not doing anything. This man doesn't care about the rules of queuing. He's a free-form thinker, isn't he, this one? He will not be constrained. He will not let society tell him what to do. Look at that. No thought for it at all. This is the real acid test. I leave. In he goes. Straight in the middle, nothing. It just doesn't work on that occasion. But there is a reason I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you because I hope this old man gets to see what we did. Because this man was frustrated, and I want to send him an apology. Of course he was frustrated. His day was delayed by two people queuing at a cash point that doesn't work. And he was furious. Did Brett say that other nations mass forensically, but we queue? This man could give other nations a run for the money. Watch his body language when he realises that this cash point isn't working. That is British rage at its fiercest. Absolutely fearsome. Sir, if you're watching, I apologise. I apologise. However, here's another example. Now, this is the chap we're looking at. I judged he was approaching the cash point queue, and he was. Watch what happens. Bang!
Dang!
Bang! Absolutely. Now, when Nick leaves...
Nice!
How beautiful is this? But this is the test.
Go on, go on. Hey! I mean, he does help that he's a big guy.
Doesn't care. It works. This is worth showing you. This is incredible. In this occasion, it's this girl who's approaching the queue.
I gather
We have
that.
to really zoom in the edit on these just to get it all in. Just have a look at this. What's she doing?
Ooh.
Is she on the feet or not? Is she aware of the feet? Is she lining up with them, or is it all just a coincidence? It's not quite clear at this stage, is it? Let's have another look. Nick goes, I step in.
Oh.
She's sort of on the first feet and ignoring the second feet. What's she going to do when I leave? Let's have a look. Oh!
Boo.
It's like it's bounced off the crossbar. I thought we were going to get one, and we didn't get one. But watch what happens when she finds out that the cash point doesn't work. What was she thinking?
The pressure thing.
Oh, yeah. All that weight-detecting paint they've got these days. I love the fact that we sent a girl out into the world thinking, I need to put on some weight. Cash boy didn't know I was there. It was all right for those two big fellas before me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'd like to think that with the help of some bar highs, some bar lows, and a dash of notefold cockery, we have once again proved that modern life is definitely good-ish. Good night.
Oh, my word. Oh, it is always away with Dave. I always go away with an aching neck, aching jaw, aching everything. And I'm so glad I do, because he's a joy. Every bloody time he's a joy. Oh, what the hell was I going to do? Oh, right. So the flight thing. I've never understood any of that. And obviously, as you're watching this, well, in theory, anyway, because this is coming out on the 11th of June on YouTube. Next week, I will be going away on holiday, going to Egypt for 2 weeks. Yay! And it's going to be interesting. First of all, there will still be stuff coming out, so don't worry. There will still be stuff. Because to be honest with you, as I'm recording this, it's actually the May Bank holiday, and I've recorded almost everything that I'm planning to record for June to get it out of the way, to get it all up as early as I can to be ready, so I'm not stressing and everything. Because that's the thing, I like, when I'm going on holiday, I like things to be smooth and calm. But I don't understand these people that literally think I'm going to get there and leave it to the last bloody minute. Which is where you would think that you would probably want things like the priority boarding or the priority, the security pass, to skip the most of the line at security. Because to be fair, that's where the longest wait will be. It's through security. I mean, I'm going on holiday with my sister and my nephew, and we've been on holiday once together. That was last summer, and that was my first experience of modern security with children. My nephew was 4 at that point. Well, no, 3 at that point. Sorry, he's 4 now. And he, to be fair, he's been on holiday, so he's fine. But it's all the stress of it. Like, my sister's got this humongous buggy with like a big trunky weedy thing that's got all of his stuff out, and if Logan's not in the chair, then the whole thing tips backwards, and it's a right kerfuffle. So you get into the security bit, and you're having to, like, we were probably using about 4 trays for the 3 of us. In reality, I go away and I go through an airport. I literally can go through in like 5 minutes. Go, there's my bag, there's my toiletries, bang, done. Have you got anything on you? No. Okay. Oh, you want to do a quick check of it? Yeah. Unzip it. There you go. Bang, done. I'm through. It's simple. That's when you kind of think that you might need it, but if you do the smart thing and you get there early, then you don't need to worry. You don't need to stress. If it takes a little bit longer, that's fine. I've never, ever, ever had an issue going through security. The one time I almost did, and it baffled me, I was coming back from Poland. So this was November before last, 2023. I went to Poland for my birthday. And this is like November, so it's not even necessarily a busy time of the year. And for whatever reason, so I go through the initial security and then the passport control bit. There's like 3 separate passport control bits before you get to the main bit where the planes are and the terminal is. And at this point, I'm like, it's like 5 minutes away from, and they'll go, oh my God, they've suddenly called final boarding. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm panicking like mad. I'm like, what the hell do I do? To the point that you kind of have to do it. In those certain circumstances, you have to do it. And I literally was speaking to the people in front. It's like, I'm so sorry. I'm on final boarding. Do you mind if I cut the line? And literally, and to be fair, to their credit, I would say everybody let me get through. They did. They really, really did. And so I'm very, very grateful for them. Up until the point that I actually get to the gate. So they say it's final boarding. By the time I had stressed, they hadn't even begun boarding anybody. Not a single person. And I was then waiting in a queue for 30 freaking minutes. No. Final boarding literally means the final people to board. Is when you're literally got most people, you're like, oh, it's missing a few stragglers. That is the point you put up the final boarding thing. And if you're not there, you're not there. You're done. Yeah, very, very frustrated. But that's the thing, you know, with the queues. For most parts, if you give it enough time, you're absolutely fine. Nobody's worried. And in supermarkets, you know, again, it's the common courtesy thing. You know, if you've got big load of shopping and you see someone behind you who's literally got a loaf of bread and a pint of milk, you just go, yeah, you go ahead. You know, it's absolutely fine. It's just common courtesy. I don't think you would ever see that in America. I really don't think you would. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to have a look into. I wanted to see of the dark side of Black Friday, and I also wanted to have a look into the truth about Black Friday, because I don't know about you, I honestly don't believe that Black Friday is a thing. I think it's a scam. I honestly think it is a scam. Let's have a look. Right. So I've just gone onto so this is a 5-page PDF. Oh my god. The dark side of Black Friday, the major drawbacks with this shopping bonanza. Let's have a look. Getting products to people, that is always a difficulty, yes. Black Day for the environment. Okay, carbon emissions can be 4 times higher than buying it in a physical store. Oh, well, that's not really necessarily Black Friday. That was rubbish. I've literally done a big kind of scan of that, and that was nothing. Absolutely nothing there. This one I have to pay to read the article. Luz Media, 10 reasons to skip Black Friday. Oh, come on, get off. All these things where it pops up and it goes, oh, can you accept these cookies? No, I don't want to see the cookies. I just want to read the thing that I'm trying to read. That's why I get impatient. It's an environmental nightmare. Yeah, we know that. Fast fashion is trash. To be fair, I don't think it's a thing. Right, it's a recipe for impulse buying. Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. Black Friday is that time of year when so many people will buy stuff and they don't actually need it. Now, I try and implement something where I go, is this something that I've thought about for a while? Is this something like the guy saying like you need a new pair of shoes? Have I been thinking for the last couple of weeks, months, that I need a new pair of shoes? If I haven't, realistically, I shouldn't go to buy it. You know, do I need a new TV? Like if my nephew threw the TV remote and broke my screen, yeah, I kind of probably would need a new TV. But if I'm just looking to upgrade it, like, does my TV work? Can I see what I'm trying to watch? Yes, I can. So do I need a new TV? No, I don't. I probably want one, but I don't need one. So there's no necessarily to go out and go, oh, it's Black Friday. Yeah, let's go get a TV. Yeah, that's what I really don't like. It's stressful. It glorifies these disposable goods. Yes, absolutely agree with that. There are better ways to shop. Yes. It can put you in debt. Yes. The amount of people, because that's the problem as well, because it's so close to Christmas, people will often go, right, it's Black Friday sales. I'm going to get all this stuff and I'm going to buy all my kids my Christmas presents in the Black Friday sales and stuff. And you've spent so much, and then you're like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to now kind of go into that. Really is. Right. Now, I'm on a thing. Please. Oh, no. Again, I hate it. I'm on a thing called The Independent. Want to read the article going, as a shopping expert, I need to tell you the truth about Black Friday. Yeah, no, I have to be logged in and subscribed for £1 for 6 months to read this article as my introductory offer. I don't want that. I just want to read the bloody article. That is something that pisses me off. It's all this stuff. You know, if it's news, just make it news. Oh, dare. Right. Black Friday myths, truth or fiction. Right. This should be an interesting one. Right. This will be an interesting one. Hopefully this can alleviate my thoughts or worries that it's a scam, basically. So, point number one, everything is cheaper on Black Friday. Customers expect the availability of the cheapest offers of the entire year, as years of advertising have taught them to believe. Consumers expect this to be true, so retailers can achieve this with smart pricing strategies. Rather than discounting the whole assortment, most retailers and web shops are using a loss leader or anchor strategy by discounting focus articles heavily and targeting bigger shopping baskets containing accessories that are sold at full price. Okay, that makes absolute sense. Retailers raise their prices before Black Friday to show higher discounts. This is something I've always thought is a ploy that people will use. So they'll go, yes, this TV is 50% off and it's now £200, an example. So what you're saying is that the original price was £400. But this is something that I've always thought it'll be, let's say the original price was £200. They'll raise it to £400 like a week, 2 weeks before the Black Friday, and then they can reduce it down. So technically it's still the same price, but you're going, oh, it's a 50% discount. That is something I do think is being done. Does this say, beware, it is very important to comply with regional laws concerning strike-through pricing. As prices are shown with a discount compared to a previous valid price, European countries have certain consumer protection laws restricting how long a price must be valid before being allowed to be struck out, how big the differences to the new price has to be, and how long it is allowed to be advertised as such. Okay, so that sounds like, in theory, they could still do that, but they have to raise it for a longer period. So I think what they're doing is they're banking on people wanting to spend big. So they're almost going, if they are doing this, it's almost like they're going, right, if we have to advertise for at least a month in that, we go, right, for a month, we're kind of going to deal with like a loss that we're not really going to sell that much, because when the Good Friday or the Black Friday comes, we'll really hammer it and we'll sell probably the same amount plus more than we would have done. That's probably what they're looking to go for. The best offers are on Black Friday. As best offers is a subjective term, it's important to distinguish between the seller and the buyer. Retailers must remember it's critical to be keen on their environment, as assortment, depth and planning are key to make such a success. It's common practice to discount older models or products that are facing their end of life soon. Same is valid for slow movers on stock, but some advertised products will be simply dictated by the market release planning. So yeah, again, that's probably what they're probably doing. They're not only raising prices to reduce them, but they're also going with Samsung have brought out this brand new TV. Are we really going to sell that at a massive discount? No, we're not. We're going to advertise their previous model that we've still got stock of and we want to get rid of it. But again, we'll raise the prices to then drop them to encourage people to buy. So you go, okay, there's your big new shiny Samsung TV for £1,000, or you can get this other one for £300. And then you tap into that psychological aspect of things. That doesn't mean that some people won't want to go for the brand new shiny toy, because a lot of people do. And then the internet is killing in-store Black Fridays. I would say, because that's the whole thing with this now Cyber Monday kind of thing. And also in recent years, it's not been like it's a day. It's like, oh, we're releasing our Black Friday deals early, and they're doing it like a week in advance. So so it's not even like a day. Because that was a big thing. Like when it first kind of came to the UK, I want to say that was ballpark about 2013, 14. That was the period that it was first kind of becoming a thing in the UK. Before that, it wasn't really a thing. I remember actually, it was the last day that I managed to get petrol for 99p. It was literally on Black Friday. It literally got reduced. There was a massive queue for that. Massive queue at the petrol station for that. So yeah, not a fan of Black Friday, if you couldn't tell. But I think there's a lot of websites that now are able to show like historical data of prices of things. Which if it says it's on like Amazon, so you put like a link into it, and then it goes right on this day the price was this, on this day the price was that. So at least it gives you an idea, and you can kind of see the trends and see, was it cheaper, was it not? And that's I think I did one thing once. I think that's where my first theory kind of came from. I think I was looking at like a mattress or something. I needed a new mattress because my old one was like 20 years old. It just needed to be replaced. And so I went to go and get one. I was thinking, do I do it in the Black Friday deals? And I was looking at it, I was like, I don't trust this. And I put the information in, and I think that's where it was. It said like, it was like 2 weeks before Black Friday, it went up to like £450 for this mattress or whatever it was. Before that, it was like $230. The Black Friday deal was effectively like $250. So it was like pretty much like a month beforehand, it was actually cheaper than it was on the Black Friday. It's like, you never know. Never know with these things. So my advice is always do your research. If you're looking at doing it, plan ahead, think about it, really look into it. And if you still think that it's something that you want, try and find out the best price that you can. And if you see it cheaper later on, sucks. If it comes up more expensive later on, you've got a deal. And that's all you can do. But yeah, there we go. I'm going to round that up there. Thank you very much for watching as always. So yeah, more to come for the rest of the month. And tomorrow, I've already recorded it. It's 2 episodes of Ghosts, which you do not want to miss. You absolutely do not want to miss. Got another double upload on Friday because it's a Friday the 13th. So I've got the usual outnumbered for Friday, but I've also got a Friday the 13th themed video to watch, which will be awesome. Rising Damp on Saturday. Scottish Sunday, we're going to be doing Scott Squad. And then yeah, more stuff next week, and then of course it'll be next Sunday is when I actually go away on holiday. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned because there'll still be stuff to come even when I'm away. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you very much for watching as always, and for now, my name is Kevin. I am a geek. You've been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.